Hey everyone, and my name is David Nassi. I'm a director in our AI product group. Prior to joining Databricks, I worked for 10 years at AWS, also overseeing some of the serverless app platforms there with AWS Lambda. Every organization is trying to build agents, automate away a lot of the tedious work, and just increase productivity with AI. And so we're seeing customers do incredibly creative things, but they're running into a wall where how can you then govern these things at scale? And today, what I want to do with you is to just take an illustrative example of some of the challenges organizations are facing with governance and some kind of emerging approaches in the industry and how we at Databricks and what we see customers do that we're seeing as being kind of successful over there. And we'll talk about Alex. So Alex is a developer in this, mid-sized company. They have about 80 developers. They adopt Claude code. At first, they do it interactively and see like huge yields and productivity. The team is really excited. So then they're like, okay, let's try to give it more autonomy and start to automate like entire processes, right? So they built this CI system. It's an entire like backend, which, provides Claude code harness. It has, sessions and state, an execution environment. So that's kind of the brain. And then it has the hands, which are the tools with GitHub access and Jira and CI logs and docs. And it runs in a service account. And so the flow is like the engineer can, in their Slack, can just do agent, fix this on a PR, and then Claude like kind of picks it up and does all the work. And it's pretty amazing. So the team sees like a huge uptick in productivity, and there are many more PRs being merged. So it's all awesome, right? Well, it is, but then the team starts running into all these kind of governance issues that at scale are really hard to figure out. And so I laid it out in these like four main kind of challenge categories. One is just attribution. These agents, they operate on users' behalf, on humans' behalf. And so we need to capture that and attribute it to specific users so we can figure out what was the agent doing and on behalf of whom it was doing it. Then there is a challenge of authorization. So in these non-deterministic systems, how do you effectively apply the principle of least privilege, right? When an agent can decide to have, very great many of permutations of like call sequences and what exactly it's trying to access. And then when things do go wrong or you're trying to improve the system, how do you have the observability to understand what drove the agent's behavior? And finally, can you attest to the integrity of the requests and responses, to their safety and their compliance with your organization, right? So let's just kind of walk through some techniques and some approaches that can help kind of rein in on these challenges. So at the most basic level, identity is really key to understanding what the agent is doing and on behalf of whom it's doing it. So even in autonomous systems, what we often see is that the autonomous system operates on requests submitted by users. And what we see is that almost in all cases, just giving an agent like this, a service principal with this like swath of like broad permissions just doesn't work in that mode. Because you lose that attribution as the agent operates. The most basic thing here is to make sure that the agent's identity carries two elements. One is the actual agent identity and also on behalf of whom it operates. Then you can close the loop on who triggered the action, right? So just to give you one example, we recently launched our Unity AI Gateway product, which allows you to govern both LLMs and MCPs. But in this example, it just shows you how as an administrator, you can set up your MCP to be governed. And when you do so, you provide your credentials to your system like GitHub, and then we will securely manage the credentials and like manage all the OAuth infrastructure, including like the token refresh per user and so forth. And so then when you go and you build an agent with that MCP, it's very easy to have it just run on behalf of the user, and that user identity is preserved. So Alex implements it, and it gets her way farther than just running with this broad service principle. But then identity is separate to authorization. So I think the main challenge in agentic systems is authorization. The traditional authorization systems they've been designed for these very well-defined control flows. But an agent can decide to do many things. And so how do we scope down its permissions? So one emerging approach that we're seeing is to actually apply authorization based on context and intent. So this is kind of like an emergent design pattern that we're seeing. And we're thinking deeply about how to actually build it for customers so you can have safer systems. So let's just take a very simple example of this context-based intent-based authorization. So here the context is really which tools that the agent tries to access have potential harmful, destructive behavior or can mutate things, and which ones are kind of read-only, are not mutating, and which ones you want to have a user approval on. Here, when you have an agent who accesses MCPs, one authorization pattern that you can apply is to kind of categorize the tools that are defined in the MCP to, what is allowed, what requires consent, and what is denied. And that is a huge leap from how most agentic systems built today, where you just give it access to the MCP and then it just goes wild. And even if it has OBO permissions, then users' permissions are pretty broad. Like I can delete repositories, but I don't want my agent to delete repositories, right? So that's like a very, very simple example. But let's kind of see how it can look if we take it to the next level, right? So in this design, there are kind of three properties. So the first property is that the agent starts with like predefined permissions that are pretty narrow and are fine-grained. So fine-grained in the sense that if it accesses like Google Drive or GitHub, it doesn't have access to the entire system. It has access to specific folders or just a specific set of repositories. And then it acquires additional permissions based on in that particular session with additional approvals from the user. And then once the session is done, it relinquishes all the extra permissions. And so any new session starts fresh. So that's kind of the design principle that we think can be durable for these kind of systems. So how would it work in practice? At design time, a developer would define a very fine-grained set of permissions to the agent. And then there will be overriding further downscoping those permissions from done by admin policies. And then during runtime, to acquire any new permission, the agent would require additional consent from the user on whose behalf it is acting. And these permissions can be parameterized. So if Alex tries to fix a PR for a specific branch, then the branch is parameterized and the agent has permission to it, but the next session will not have that permission. So we talked about authorization, but let's talk about observability. So what we see here is an additional kind of class of challenges because of the non-deterministic pattern and how the control flow of agents is undefined at request time. So that's kind of one challenge. The next challenge is, unlike in traditional systems where the state is well defined and it lives in databases and variables and queues, here the context window comprises like a huge chunk of what the state is. And often it's completely opaque to us. The adversarial actions are very new here as well. So things like prompt injections and things like that can happen, which do not happen in traditional systems. So we need to kind of rethink the observability layer as well. And I think what's interesting here is that we actually, in this part of the kind of governance domain, we do have a good pattern. And we have a pattern that worked for us in the past very well, which is tracing of distributed systems. So tracing is not a new concept to us in any kind of way, but it lends itself particularly well to agentic systems because it kind of covers a lot of the jobs to be done that we wanted to achieve in observability. So every LLM call can be modeled as a span in our tracing system. And the context essentially captures the payload, which includes the metadata and the context window. and including the prompt. As the agent operates, we have the full end-to-end view of everything that it did, including the state that it was in and why it took certain decisions. So tracing is key, and what we see is that customers who apply tracing, that's kind of the first fundamental kind of path to success in agentic governance. Also has its uses for like evals and improvements, but we're talking about governance. And we're the stewards of MLflow, which is kind of the leading tool for tracing and MLOps and improvements in evals. And it's actually damn easy to instrument agents with tools like MLflow. So one line, you can instrument a tool like Claude Code. It takes one line, and all of a sudden you have full observability of what's happening through your execution of Claude. So I encourage you to kind of give it a spin and see how it works. It's really easy, and the value of it is incredible. So we talked about the first three layers. The fourth layer is just the trust. And in terms of trust, what I mean is like, can you actually assert that the request the agent received was legitimate and what it returned was compliant? And here too, like it's a broad class, like a big class of kind of challenges that we're facing, and we need to figure out what are the primitives. But what I wanted to share with you is one pattern that works incredibly well for most of our customers, and it is the pattern of an LLM judge. So essentially, you get to instrument your agent in a way where each request and response to the agent goes through a separate LLM judge. It's a separate model and a separate call, and there can be multiples of them, which are then have the very narrow task of identifying certain issues. So they could look for certain PII patterns and identify PII. They can identify safety issues. They can identify prompt injection patterns and so forth. So we think this is a pretty scalable, durable pattern that we can apply for this integrity problem. This is something that our team is working on making available in some of our products, including AI Gateway. We recently announced that capability. Alex implemented these 4 patterns, and if previously she was paged in the middle of the night and asked, your agent put something into production, what happened? She couldn't actually answer that. Now she has the full observability with a trace ID. The context windows through the operations were captured over there. She has an audit log of all the actions and all the tools that were called and why certain policies were triggered and allowed or denied certain operations. So it's now pretty trivial for her to answer this question. And so governance becomes much more manageable. Obviously, governance doesn't stop here, and this is not a complete set of challenges that we're seeing with agentic systems in terms of what we need to solve. What we didn't touch, just like as a set of examples, is how to do proper credential vending, how to implement kill switches when things go wrong in autonomous agents. Actually, when you have hundreds of these agents running, how do you kind of streamline consent and how do you manage that on scale? And model governance in terms of as you deploy new model versions, how do you manage that and how do you ensure there are no regressions in terms of safety and security? So yeah, it's definitely a big topic, and it's exciting, being this greenfield area with all of you. So thank you so much.